Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Hello. So, my name is LaKeesha Hines. You are watching SOS, Saving Our Sex Lives One Bedroom at a Time. I am so sorry. We're having some technical difficulties this evening. I hope that you can hear me because everything looks good on my end. Thank you so much for joining. I want to say hello to Miss Jules. Hi, Vashawn. Hey, Shalise. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know there are more of you here who have not checked in, and that's totally fine. Guys, we are so excited about all of the new shows that are here and the Couples Academy app, where you're just getting so much information. You're staying connected with us in so many different ways. Now we are absolutely loving all of the support that you guys have given us, and it has just been overwhelming, especially with the changes that took place and all of the things that the enemy was trying to do. We have to stand against. We have to stand up. We have to stand firm against everything that the enemy tries to do. So I want to say thank you. We all want to say thank you for your support. Thank you for tuning in and just loving everything Couples Academy. I am super excited about our show this evening. Last week and the week before, we talked about reasons why wives say no to sex. And as I promised, I told you guys that I would look out for my brothers. I would look out for my men. So it is your turn tonight. It is all about the fellas tonight. We are discussing reasons why husbands say no. So I already know what you're going to say. I already know what you're thinking. Ladies, men don't say no. They don't reject sex. Yes, they do. They absolutely 100% do. Now, maybe not as often as us ladies, but they actually do say no. So I'm equal opportunity. I asked for you guys to put into the chat last week and the week before reasons why you think that man might say no to sex. I want you to drop that in the chat. And if you have questions tonight with any of the content that we are discussing, please feel free to post your questions. And if I have time to get to them, I most certainly will do my best to do so. But I want to make sure you get all of this good content this evening. So, again, we're discussing reasons why husbands reject sex, reasons why they say no. Are these all of the reasons? No, but these are some of the main reasons why husbands might say no. Reason number one, work related or financial stress. Believe it or not, um, our husbands are under a tremendous amount of stress. And we do know that this affects different cultures differently. But however it goes, work stress, financial stress, it affects our husbands. Doesn't mean that it doesn't affect us too, ladies, but it affects our men in a different way. Remember that we handle the same situations differently because of our personalities, because of gender, multiple reasons, right? So tonight we're talking about reasons why husbands might reject sex as it pertains to work stress or financial stress. Now, I want to say this to you guys. There are two different types of stress. One of them is eustress, EUSTRESS. This is healthy stress. All right. This stress energizes us, it motivates us to make changes, it gives us positive outlooks and makes us capable of overcoming obstacles and even sickness. So eustress is good stress. So we're not talking about that one. We're talking about distress. That's the negative one. That one negatively affects us, and it has the opposite effect of eustress, right? Because eustress has a positive effect, distress has a negative effect. So stress in and of itself is not bad. It's our response to stress that could be problematic. So men have a tendency to express stress less than women. A lot of times they might find it challenging to articulate different emotions that they're experiencing. And there could be a shortage of finances at home. There could be a lot of pressure at work. And then, whereas a woman might respond outwardly, share her feelings and emotions and her thoughts, a man might turn inward with secret worry, and it could even lead to him withdrawing sexually from his partner. This could be his way of attempting to deal privately with his pain and his sense of responsibility, because when husbands become husbands, and especially when they become fathers, there's a certain weight on them, pressure on them to take care of their family, to take care of their wives and their children. And so it can cause there to be a tremendous amount of responsibility and stress, and causes them to go harder at work. And this requires a lot of patience and understanding by us as the wives. So it's true that men often do not reject sex, but we're talking about extreme situations. And again, we're also talking about different personalities too, right? Some men respond in an opposite way where they might want more sex because they're stressed out. So they may be interested in sex still, but it may be a different type. So it may go from wanting um relational sex to get this stress off of me sex, if you know what I mean. So it may not be all of the caressing and the passion and the kissing and the everything that you're accustomed to. It may turn from that to being a little bit more aggressive, quicker. And again, just kind of, I just need to get this stress up off me and up out of me. Okay, so you have to have conversations with your spouse about what it is that they need when they are dealing with work related stress or financial stress. So I told you, I'm never going to give you just problems and not give you solutions, right? So, some of the things, ladies, that we can do to support our husbands if they are dealing with a tremendous amount of work related or financial stress is one, we want to become a constructive outlet. You need to listen, give your partner your undivided attention, really, really focus on what it is that they're saying when they are ready to share. Don't interrupt when they're sharing. And also, this one is probably most important about being a constructive outlet. You do not want to offer advice unless it is solicited. It is extremely important that you do not offer advice unless it is solicited. In other words, let him ask you for advice. You want to offer support. Okay. Show engagement again in what they're saying. Don't just stare at them with, this blank look on your face, this blank stare or a fixed stare. You want to say some supportive things and use supportive language. You want to empathize and sympathize with them, but do your best to not compare your stress to your spouse's stress. For example, if they say, man, I had a rough day today. Your response should not be, oh, you think your day was bad. Listen to what I had to deal with. That doesn't help anything. And remember, stress endurance is not a competition. We're not comparing battle wounds or battle scars or stress levels, right? It's stressful for both of you. Both have stressful jobs if you're working. And if you're not working and you're a stay-at-home mom, that's stressful too. So you both have stress, right? But give your husband an opportunity to vent about his day or share about his day and offer support. And I know it's not always easy to give that on demand support, right? Or encouragement, because sometimes you're not mentally ready to deal with your partner's problems. Maybe you don't have the words to say. So if it's not a good time for you, be honest and say, listen, it's right now, it's not a good time. And I want to give you my undivided attention. I want to support you and what you're going through. But can we have this conversation a little bit later on in the evening or the next day or the weekend or whatever, depending on how severe it is, you may not want to wait until the weekend if it's Monday, right? So you have to have that conversation, get that permission from your spouse to table the conversation if that's what you need in that moment, or if they really really need you. Okay, well, let me just give me a couple minutes, let me get me together, and then I can come back and listen and be supportive, and again, be that constructive outlet. The important thing is to leave the door open for further conversation, right? The benefit of you having a spouse is that they know you as well as you know yourself. And in some cases, maybe they know you better than you know yourself. So if you get a sense that your partner might be misreading a situation at work or headed in the wrong direction mentally, then you need to say something. Just try to offer a different perspective so that they can identify areas of opportunity when necessary. Timing is everything, though. When they're venting and they're stressed out, that's not the time to say, I think you're looking at this wrong. You need to look at it different. Allow them to get it all out. Allow them to share what they need to share. And then when they open the door for you to give feedback, then that's when you do it. Okay. So again, be a constructive outlet, offer support, reflect. Number 3, it's important to be aware of the type of stress your partner is experiencing. So with work, sometimes there's sporadic stress, whereas maybe they just had like a bad meeting or there was a project that went wrong or went awry. But then there's chronic stress where it's something that bubbles underneath the surface for a prolonged period of time. So the way you deal with sporadic stress is totally different from how you deal with chronic stress. Chronic stress might be a sign that they might be in the wrong place, and so then you need to pay attention to their attitude, their mood and patterns, and then help them reflect on their career goals and their professional path and ask them, how are things going? Are you where you want to be? Are you satisfied? This is obviously meant for a longer, more meaningful conversation, but it may be a situation where they need to alter their goals. Maybe in some places they need to shift environments. And I understand that's easier said than done, but put a plan in place that if this is not it, then let's make moves to try to get you someplace else so that you can be happy at work, be where you want to be satisfied, right? We understand every job is going to come with some level of stress, some level of job dissatisfaction, but that should not be the norm. That should not be everything. And that should not be every day, the entire time that you're there. You can go through seasons of that, and that's okay. You want to encourage outside same-sex friendships and interests because you can't be the sole repository for your partner's stress. And when we rely on each other too much, it can really put a damper on a relationship. And so you have to have a life outside of home and work. So you got to create a third space. Notice I said same sex friendships. Okay. Give them freedom and space to do the things that they enjoy. They might have a hobby. They might have a sport that they like. They may like watching sports, but it's just important that you both maintain outside support networks of people that can help you work through your professional challenges, and they can serve as sounding boards and sources of counsel, right? Wise counsel. And so, encourage each other to keep up on your existing relationships, to pour into those relationships and nurture them. And in some places, you actually might need to get a career coach. Sometimes that's what you need to do. Um, and that's okay. Sometimes that is what's needed. Okay. So the most important thing is that, and you want to encourage your partner to stay open, communicating, expressing what they want and what they need. And then keep in mind that the same sex friend, the same sex colleague, or coach should be a complement, not a substitute to your spouse. Okay. All right. So we talked about being constructive outlet, offering support, reflecting. Next, decompress together at the end of your day, right? Decompress together. Your home should be, well, I'll say this, my home is my sanctuary, and yours should be a safe haven for you too. So wives, don't be an additional source of stress. Your husband had a rough day. He's having a rough time at work. You don't want to add additional stress. All right. Another thing you want to do is practice good mobile device habits. When you come home, there is no need for both of you to be on your phones. I understand when you walk through the door, you may be finishing up a call or wrapping up something, sending that last text or email or whatever. But then after that, the devices need to go on pause, right? You have to have a distinction of when that work device can be used at home and when it should not be used. So help your husband develop a good end of work habit. And it could be encouraging for them to listen to maybe an audiobook or music or just take a walk at the end of the day. You guys can take a walk together, use that time to decompress and like go through your day. That way, when you get back inside the house, then we're just focused on us, kids, family, home life, that type of stuff, because you both need time to decompress. And I love the idea of going out for a walk when you get home, when you both get home, because it's symbolic of having that conversation about your workday outside because you're not bringing it in the house. Does that make sense? Like, to me, that's just a beautiful way to keep that separation between work and home. All right, so that was work stress. Now, financial stress. You want to make sure that you get on the same team and you stay on the same team. To win in life, you have got to be on the same team with your spouse and ditch the me versus you mentality. It's not his money, her money, it's our money, right? And if you want to enjoy financial unity, then you have to follow a game plan that you come up with together. You have to get that buy-in together. Okay. Because in that way you both will stay on task. You'll stay on course if you come up with it together. The second thing is set financial goals together. Sit down, discuss your shared vision for your life. And some of the questions you can ask are like, what are your hopes and dreams for the future as an individual and as a couple? Where do you want to be in 5 years financially, right? So you want to write your answers separately and then discuss them collectively. And so once you discuss your vision for the future, then you want to look at specific goals that you can set to accomplish your dreams. You want to break down your goals into manageable chunks that are realistic and trackable. And this is something obviously that, here at Couples Academy, we can walk you through. You want to create a written budget that works, because after you shared your vision, you set goals as a team, then you create your budget. And if you want that budget to be successful, it's one that you have to both agree on and commit to and discuss. And when you do come together to have that discussion, both of you come with an open mind. Always, you have to communicate openly and honestly, and it's important that you check in with each other regularly. You need to have monthly budget accountability meetings. Just like you have meetings at work, you got to have meetings with your spouse to discuss your finances. And during the meetings, be honest about your financial situation. Revise the budget as you see fit. Talk about any issues that may have come up, and then you just review your overall goals and objectives. All right. Next, with financial stress, you want to change your attitude, because if you can change your attitude, you can change your life. Your attitude affects every area of your life. How you view things, how you look at things, it affects every area of your life. When you have a can-do attitude, when you have a committed attitude and a cheerful attitude, it will take you way further than a complaining, defeatist attitude will. So if you have the attitude that your financial plan or goal will fail, then that's exactly what's going to happen. But if you have an attitude of motivation and dedication, there is no limit to how far you can go when you guys work together to accomplish your goals and financial plans. So your attitude towards your spouse is going to play a huge role too. If you have a spirit of forgiveness towards your husband and or wife, and it's more likely that you'll have unity in your marriage and in your finances. So forgiveness is across the board in every area. Is so important. And then lastly, with financial stress, you want to learn how to compromise. Compromise can be your best friend. You guys are probably totally different people, right? We know opposites oftentimes do attract. So it's important that you learn to appreciate each other's strengths and discuss each other's differences. And so one of the biggest hurdles that couples face is the spender saver dilemma. There's someone in a relationship who's the saver, someone who's a spender, and then you guys are in conflict. So if you want a healthy marriage, savvy money management is going to require teamwork, planning, dedication, communication. Okay, so we're going to take just a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll jump on the rest of these reasons, and that'll give me an opportunity to look at you guys' comments here, because I see they are in there. You put your ideas in there. So here we go. Be right back. All right, you guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We're talking about reasons why husbands might reject sex or say no to sex. And the number one we talked about was work-related or financial stress. Just really kind of broke that down with things that you can do to support your husband if he is dealing with a lot of work-related stress or financial stress. Okay, so on to the next one. Repeated relationship neglect. Repeated relationship neglect. So sometimes as couples, we don't deal with underlying anger or bitterness or unforgiveness. And that definitely can take a toll on sexual intimacy in your marriage. A neglected relationship, it can become susceptible to all types of external distractions and possibly even infidelity. So there are some men who are able to handle sex with their spouse while they're cheating. But for other people, the guilt may actually cause them to disengage sexually and emotionally because the guilt is overwhelming. And so, again, there could be underlying issues that have not been dealt with, and that ultimately can affect your intimacy, which could lead to infidelity and a host of other issues. Something else to consider with relationship neglect is that men also need more than sex to feel satisfied in marriage. And I believe this is a myth buster, because a lot of times we feel like men just, they're good. They just need sex and that's it. But guess what? They need to feel love too. That was the whole purpose of the 5 love languages, right? To break down the different love languages and how we view it totally different sometimes as individuals, right? And that's not always a gender thing as it pertains to the 5 love languages. It's more of a personality thing, family marinade, upbringing, what they're accustomed to, how your parents showed you love. So men need more than sex. I know. Right? Affirmation, respect from his wife, and even something as basic as hugging and kissing can make a man feel both wanted and needed. And the same way, ladies, that we desire to feel wanted and needed and desired, men do too. So, um, when those things are not there, it can lead to a lack of interest in the relationship, which includes sex. What can you do about it? One, don't be a victim. Do not play the victim card. It's counterproductive. It can cause you to be more accusatory and then fall back on the blame game. You spend all your time or most of your time and energy telling your partner what they did wrong or how they hurt you. That could put them on the defensive and then cause them to distance themselves even further. So don't be a victim. Don't play the blame game. Look at underlying causes for the behavior. Spend some time thinking about what might have sparked the issue or the behavior in the first place. Like if you were not dealing with this issue before and then now you are, you can try to trace the change in their behavior back to a specific event. And with that, if you're able to identify or pinpoint something, you can say with some level of certainty that your partner's just going through a rough patch. But if they're emotionally unavailable and that's just how they operate, then changing their behavior is going to be more difficult. And in a lot of ways, it may seem or feel impossible, or even be impossible if that's who if they are, and they're not willing to change. So if the behavior is situational, I mean, your chances of mending a relationship are far greater than if you're dealing with someone who is just emotionally unavailable naturally. All right. So don't be a victim. Look at the underlying causes. Be proactive. So it takes two to make the relationship work. And so while the neglect may be coming from your spouse, it's not a good idea to just sit back and wait it out. Oh, eventually it'll get better. Oh, they'll change. But if you're not doing the work, you're not discussing it, you're not talking about it, you guys are not putting plans in place, then it's not going to change. It's not just going to miraculously happen. Sometimes people don't even recognize their own behavior. So if your partner doesn't realize that they're being neglectful or hurting you, then you'll probably never see a change because they don't even know something's wrong. Remember, you can't hold people accountable for something that they never knew was an expectation. You can't expect them to change if they don't realize that there's something that needs to be changed. And then, of course, you always want to make arrangements to spend quality time together so you can talk, just enjoy each other, have fun together, so that you can address these issues. In extreme cases, you might need to seek professional help. And even if it's not extreme, if you've been trying on your own to try to work things out or to fix the issues and it's not getting better, then you may need to reach out to Couples Academy because you might need a trained professional to facilitate some constructive conversations with you guys, give you different perspectives, and give you guys a safe space to express your feelings. And then you're going to get an unbiased third party who can identify the emotional neglect. And then a lot of times your spouse is more susceptible to hearing it and making amends when they get it from someone else and not you. Lastly, be patient. If you've had issues that took months or years to develop, then it's not going to be resolved overnight. It's just not. So when you need to correct a pattern of emotional neglect, it is definitely a labor of love. And so you're trying to get your relationship back on track. It's going to take hard work, patience, and time. And then if you do end up reaching out to a professional, Couples Academy, remember to put your best foot forward. And you have to trust the process. 100% trust the process. Okay. So, man, guys, this time goes by so fast. This is so crazy to me that it is after 9:30. I decided to go a little bit longer because of the technical difficulties, right? So I do want to get into one of these hot topics tonight. So, one of the reasons why a husband might say no to sex, why he might reject his wife, is because of too much porn or too much masturbation. Now, I want to be very, very clear in what it is that I'm saying to you. I didn't say porn in and of itself. I did not say masturbation in and of itself. I said too much pornography, too much masturbation can cause issues. If you have a husband who is consumed with pornography because of how accessible it is, men have a tendency to indulge in their porn habits openly, and they may even treat it like an affair. So if you have a husband who abuses porn, they can become dependent on it for arousal, and it can affect their interest in relational sex, right? Sex between themselves and their spouse. And it can also affect their sexual intimacy with a live partner, because it can create these unrealistic expectations. It can cause boredom or lack of interest in the wife, because the wife clearly is not going to always be able to measure up to what he's watching on the screen. So, if the obsession with pornography is accompanied by masturbation, a man can become addicted to the intensity that the sensation produced by his one man show, and it can grow. He can grow to prefer that over having to learn how to relate to and satisfy his wife. And so the problem that happens with too much pornography, too much masturbation, the two used together, is that it can create a sense of selfishness and not selflessness, because it's all about your satisfaction, your pleasure. And when you're by yourself, you don't have to think about anybody else. You're just thinking about you. So then to try to translate that into engaging in sexual activity with your spouse, it doesn't always translate, because you're still focused on yourself and pleasing yourself and your pleasure and not that of your spouse. So, what can we do about it? Number one, try not to judge. I know it's hard. I know, because when your husband is using porn, I'm not saying ladies don't, but remember, we're talking about men tonight. So, if your partner, your husband is using porn, it can be harmful. It can be hurtful to you. And I know that. So, the very first step is to talk to them about it, but without being judgmental. Remember, you want to always be real, raw, but not rude. Okay. Let them explain, like ask them, what do they like about it? And then you need to be calm and respectful as you listen to what they have to say. Maybe there are things that they want both of you to try, or maybe they're watching porn because they're bored, or it's just out of habit. Sometimes it may not have anything to do with you, and it was something that was going on before you got married, and it just continued on into the marriage. Share your feelings. Remember, even with the ladies, the last 2 weeks, communicate, 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 right? So you definitely want to share your feelings calmly and clearly. Articulate why you feel the way you do about porn, but do it in a loving, judgmental way. You don't want your husband to feel like they're being attacked or blamed, or like something's wrong with them because they enjoy. And then, of course, if you guys are unable to resolve it on your own, then give us a call. Go to counseling, reach out to someone who can help you. Call me. I'm here for you. I got you. All right. Okay, you guys. So I just want to take a look at some of your comments. And we had some more people join. Hey, Gonzalez. Hi, Samuel, Latasha, Angel, Jerry, Gorgeous Wells. Hey, Angel. You said that makes sense. Okay, I hope so. I hope it does make sense to you guys. Hopefully, all of it does. All right, so we are actually out of time for this evening. Again, I can't believe how quickly it goes by. But next week we will continue the second part of this. We will continue on discussing reasons why husbands say no. I love your ideas that you guys dropped in here. And join me next week as we wrap this up. And then, oh my goodness, you guys, after we move from reasons why people say no, I'm going to give you tips on getting both to say yes. So join us next week, me, Couples Academy, all of us for all of our shows. Definitely, we would love to see you as always, and we appreciate you guys so much. I look forward to seeing you next week, Tuesday at 9 o'clock, or maybe even on one of the other shows. Again, thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful night. Bye.